yours. Let's go. Can I take you over to my hideaway? Some things that I wanna say, but it's only for you and me. Don't need some privacy. Can I take you over to my hideaway? Some things that I wanna say, but it's only for you and me. Don't need some privacy. Can I take you to my hideaway? 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 Yeah, it's Fatal to you, featuring BM. We hot up in here. I'm telling you, man, you're gonna need the North Pole to cool us off, man. For sure.
Sign-up for voucher is one of the most convenient ways that I'm finding now to do my shopping here at Farmer Joe, and my sister just sent through the voucher on my cell phone, and I just come straight into Farmer Joe to do my shopping.
Ole si tulanga pitusili o le tau. Ole la fo me o le pepa tala o loa. Ona whaangale e whaatau i o loa e au ngā mole ainga.
I think it's really convenient for families overseas if they don't know how to help their families here. Then this is the perfect way.
Mai ai la sa so fo tau e lisia sa. Ni fia foi sa we mo mawina ni foi au nang fo e ala mai le tala fo voucher. Ila wana whaatau ma me te mga oi. Ile voucher.
Tai mo le tala pa voucher ua mau e apususi o se wa fine.
So se paro loa fai ngo fie. A me se le te whai ma le telefoni. Tai mi uma.
Ai lo la fo me le cash o nei no le tama o le ainga.
Pa te tu lava le tala fo voucher mo le foi au nang fo pa tai. Ma lu la le tam fai.
Pa tai tala pa voucher.
Teki tala fo voucher.
Talofa lava, ma lore so for malangi e mama, and a warm Pacific greetings to everyone who's just tuned in for your Friday. Yay. That's right, you've tuned in to another show with Pea and Claudia, our podcast today, and I'm looking forward to our interview today, and I'm super excited that it's Friday and I get to relax this weekend.
Oh yes,
How are
you've
you?
been really busy all these last few weekends, but talofa lava everyone, and it is Friday, and not only is it Friday, it's actually the third day of summer, so I hope you're making the most of summer, because you know it, those 3 months are going to be done and dusted. So I'm planning on heading out into the water this weekend.
I think I might do the same. It must be that river of life that we're
that river of love.
That river of love this weekend.
River of life.
But we are here in Auckland, red light traffic light system. Just explaining to Claudia that it's been extremely busy today at the Manukau Mall. And I tell you what, those salons, the lines, the women are just kind of like this everywhere, just hiding their face, and in there, I think when I turned up, there was approximately around 10 plus girls, plus their diary was fully booked.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
wow.
Gonna have some pretty ladies showing face tomorrow at the beach.
I wonder if everyone's just getting ready for 11:59 p.m. tonight when the bars.
Actually, it was 11:59 last night. Yes.
Oh, did anyone go out last night?
Yeah, comment below if you did, get a chance to head out into the city. I know that they did cover the story last night on TV3 News. However, I didn't.
I'm curious. Was it busy? Did people go? I feel like maybe tonight, but then it'd be tonight.
I think tonight,
Friday, and I feel like maybe that's why all the salons were busy, because everyone's trying to look pretty for tonight. Or Saturday as well. So it'll be interested to see if anyone is going out tonight. Let us know where you are heading out.
Maybe we can.
Curious.
Maybe we can join you.
I'm very curious.
I am very curious, and today I was kind of in a rush, and I had to download what do you call the
vaccine passport?
Yeah, passport. So yes, it's been a very busy day at the salon. Just had to get my hair did.
A few weeks ago, I think Ben did mention that she was working on a project, and it's not a small project, it's actually a very big project.
Yeah.
She couldn't disclose the details of the project in that moment, but today we are going to reveal that secret, and she was actually, I'm so proud of her, because she's really doing amazing things this year. So she modeled for Say Ariana, and we all remember how stunning and gorgeous she did, and how amazing those photos turned out. But she also is, I guess, what would you call it? You videographed, is that a word? You recorded a presentation for a website.
Yes, Figure NZ, and it was Pacific Data Fale, which was, it was very,
I remember I was there in the process. And she did so well. I think you were a little bit nervous.
It was very nervous, nervous.
Honestly, we are going to show you the video. But as she got into it, she was just a natural, and she explains the whole entire website. And that's exactly who we're going to have on the show today. We're going to have Ngapera, the CEO of New Zealand Figure, here to talk about the website, because they just recently launched it, and so now it is once again going viral on the internet. And we are going to show you that video right now. And Pea virtually through the video can explain to you what the website is.
I think we'll just let the video play for itself. I think I kind of still have the words, but yeah. Check it out, guys. Take the time to listen to it as well, because the information that is shared on this website will help our community as well. it's not just a website, it's more, our churches can use it, our research program, it can help you with funding applications. There's so much more to the data than just a website and just Bea showing the website off. But check it out. This is the video here. So
This is Pea.
Welcome to Pacific Data Whale, a free website where you can come and find data for and about our Pacific people in New Zealand. We built it to help Pacific communities in Aotearoa and those who serve them find and use reputable data, because we believe quality data is an important tool to help our communities. You can find data by topic such as education, health, language and religion. You can also find data by country such as Samoa, Tonga or Niue. Here's a tip. You can go up to the top left-hand side and scroll down to find things faster if you already know what you're looking for. You can access the most recent report that use Pacific data and find helpful websites, or if you want to dig deeper into the Pacific data, you can find a list of researchers and Pacific data experts, which is super important if you want to see data through our Pacific expert lens. All the data is designed to download and use for free. It comes from a reputable source like Statistics New Zealand and Ministry of Education. And each chart also has important metadata attached to each graph. Don't worry, metadata is just a fancy word for information about the data. So you can see here that it contains information about who collected it, how, and any definitions or limitations in the data that you are looking at. All the data on Pacific Data Whale is designed to share. On each chart, you can click on the download button and choose to download the actual data itself in a CSV file or as an image. So if this chart is something you want to include in a report or in a funding application or even a social media post, you can add it in knowing it's safe to use and the graph is to scale. So remember, all the data on Pacific Data is from reputable sources, safe to use, free for everyone to use, designed to share, being updated all the time. Have fun exploring Pacific Data.
Amazing did Pea do. Honestly, I was just saying that she sounds so professional.
Oh, you know what? And it was quite, at first, it was just, and a massive shout out to the team there at Figure NZ and also to Ngapera and also to Jackie and the whole team, the Bluwave team as well, for putting this together. It was overwhelming, but such a rewarding kind of.
You did, honestly, so good. And that is just another little taste of what the Bluwave team can actually do here. Honestly, they've got every single digital solution here at Bluwave, but honestly, I'm just excited. So proud of you.
Yeah, but look, as you may have seen, if you haven't already, check out the website. Head over to Figure NZ, and you'll see it, and you'll see that Falute's in it as well, and we've got the team in there. So it's been really, really awesome to see everyone get together to, just at their space. So it's such an important space. But takes us back to a massive, massive whawhete lava to all of our sponsors. We've got the beautiful, the wonderful Falute, Pacific 40. Head over to Pacific 40, buy your family something for Christmas in Samoa from anywhere in the world. That's right. Doesn't matter where you are, North Pole, all you need is internet connection and that's it. But otherwise, thank you to Falute, also to Mata o Samoa, there in Samoa. We believe that they've been quite busy, so head over there if you're Awhapeleki, Samoa. Don't forget to gas up with the awesome team there at Malta or Samoa. And of course, we cannot thank the generator. If you've got a bright idea this Christmas that can help or be the solution to something bigger next year, head over to the generator and they'll be able to generate your business ideas so that, for a brighter future solution, anything, they'll be able to help you. And of course, florists. The calendars, the beautiful women of Samoa who they've got their cocoa farming in Samoa and they're going to make a global impact. So it's only $20 if you pick up from our office, which is 28D Lambie Drive i Manukau. Otherwise, head over to the website, click and donate, or you can purchase a calendar for approximately about $30. That's including the delivery.
Now, honestly, we are just so blessed with all these amazing people that have both contributed and are part of our lives. And talking about amazing people, we are going to be bringing on Ngapera, who is the CEO of New Zealand Figure NZ, sorry. And she's actually the brains behind Pacific Data Whale. So it'll be very, very exciting to have a little discussion about her, about data, because I know data isn't the most exciting or attractive thing, but she's going to explain to us why data should actually be of importance to you. So we're going to go into a quick break and we'll be bringing her back on after the break.
Stay tuned, guys.
Telephone voucher is one of the most convenient ways that I'm finding now to do my shopping here at Farmer Joe, and my sister just sent through the voucher on my cell phone, and I just come straight to Farmer Joe to do my shopping.
O le si tūlanga pitusili o le tāua. O le lafo me o le pepa tala o loa. O na whaangale e whaatau i o loa e au ngā mori ainga.
I think it's really convenient for families overseas if they don't know how to help their families here. Then this is the perfect way.
Mai ai le sa so fua tau e le sia sa. Le fia foi sa we mo mawina le foi au nang fo e ala mai le talo for voucher. Ila wana fa tau ma me te mga oi. Ile voucher.
Tai mo le talo pa voucher. Ua maua le apususi o se wa fine.
So se paro loa fai ngo fie. A me se le te ferwa i malo telefoni. Tai mi uma.
Ai lo le lafo me le cash. O na inu e le tama o le ainga.
Pa te tu lava le talo for voucher mo le foi au nang fo pa tai. Ma lu lava le tam pai.
Pa tai talo pa voucher.
Teki talo for voucher.
For the next generation of growers and farmers in the Pacific, may you find your own rhythm on the land. May you grow and teach others how to grow with love. May your skills and intuition continue to nourish, nurture, and advise those who need it.
Talofa lava, kia ora, and welcome back to BluTable Talanoa, BluTable Podcast here with Pea and Claudia. I was just saying to Pea over the break that I'm not going to be able to work with her because it just gets too hot every time I'm around her, and I'm like, I can't do this. But honestly, today...
I'm still trying to breathe because she's too hot as well.
No, she can't just say the same thing I'm saying. It doesn't work that way. But honestly, guys, today we have the absolute pleasure of having Ngapera Riley, CEO of Figure NZ, on the show. And she's going to talk us through the significance behind Pacific Data Whale and the importance of data. Who would have known? And I feel I'm a little bit ignorant in this field. But kia ora, Ngapera, thank you so much for joining us today. And congratulations on the launch of Pacific Data Whale. But before we get into that discussion, Ngapera, if you could please just introduce yourself to our viewers.
Tēnā koutou katoa, ko ai au, he ori au no te aroa, noho mai au ki Rotorua. Ko te aroa te waka, ko ngā te unuku kōpako, ngā te roro te rangi, me ngā tūhorangi oku hapu. My name's Ngapera Riley, born and bred in Rotorua, but I'm coming to you live from the metropolis of Manurewa. And currently I am the CEO of a charity, which is also a technology company called Figure NZ. And and we're here today to talk a little bit about the Pacific Data Whale.
I love it so much. And Ngapera, I'm just going to share this quick little story that I was sharing with the team before. So one of our family friends, she actually immigrated to New Zealand from Bolivia more than 30 years ago. So this was a long, long time ago when there were hardly any South Americans in New Zealand. And a Māori man approached her and he was like, kia ora. And she looks at him really confused and she's like, it's 2 p.m. And he's like, no, kia ora. And she's like, yeah, 2 p.m. And then after a wee little conversation, they learned that she thought that he was saying kia ora in Spanish, which actually means what time is it? And so of course she was saying it's 2 p.m. Like, why do you keep asking me? But like, so that's my wee little story about that.
I love that.
That connection. I love that Claudia always finds a way that, to connect it, because it is. We've been talking a little bit about it and how our cultures connect. But, it's so important to talk about it because as two humans, we connect very well as well. So, and that's, we love connecting with our community. We love engaging with our community. But we also love the work that our community leaders and have done. But Ngapera, it's, we spoke a little bit, was it last week? Oh no, but Monday. Was it Monday or last week, Friday? You're here at the office and we're talking a little bit about the work. And then first of all, I just wanted to say massive whawhiti lava for the opportunity to be able to, be part of this movement and the website. I was super overwhelmed and feeling truly blessed. So yeah, I'm just a little bit lost.
No, it's a pleasure was all ours. And speaking of connections, right? One of the things I was quite worried about when I was working in the Pacific Data Whale was, I'm not Pacific, right? Apart from the fact that I'm Māori, Polynesian of the Māori variety. Yep. But, we are connected and that we live in Aotearoa, which is part of Te Moana Nui o Kiwa and the Pacific Ocean. We are all connected. I was, it's always nerve-wracking going into a project where, there's lots of unknowns. But it was awesome because I had to remind myself that, we are connected. We are connected through our cultures quite a lot. And probably no more bigger reminder for me than that when I go to Rarotonga, for example, and I sit at the spot where our waka left and you hear our language being spoken there, or their language, it's all our language. And you're just reminded, no, we are actually really connected. Even though we're all unique in our own cultures, Pacific cultures, we just have an undeniable connection there. So I felt safe going into that space, but also because I knew I had enough Pacific connections to guide me through, to guide us through. But, I was, as a Māori woman too, I was just a bit, I wouldn't say anxious, but just very aware, that I was coming into a Pacific space. But you know what? I actually really knew in my heart I had to do it because nobody else was going to do it. And I knew we had the technology. I knew that we had the data to do it. So I felt really compelled to just push forward and get this Pacific Data Whale project going. And now we've launched. I can't believe it.
I know. And once again, congratulations. But you know what, Ngapera, I know, we spoke a little bit about that, about the connection. And I mean, it's even myself, being a Samoan woman, born and raised here in New Zealand, I kind of always kind of feel a little bit disconnected with my roots. But you know what? I think after working in the space here at Bluwave, I don't even doubt. There's no doubt in my mind that I'm 100% Samoan, and every part of me. Everything that I contribute is even something as little as doing a website like this with yourself, man. That's, a contribution back to our Pacifica community, but still so awesome that you were able to help. But can you just talk us through a little bit about what we can expect to find on Pacific Data Whale? Because myself and Claudia, we're not really clued up on why it's so important to have data, because to be honest, data.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit, shall we?
Yeah.
We'll unpack that, because, data is something, I'll be honest, even when I came into Figure NZ and I was, Lillian, the founder, approached me to come in and work in Figure NZ, I kind of was like, but I'm not a data expert. Like, are you sure you want me to come in and do this work? And she said, actually, no, I think it's really important because data is new to everybody.
Yep.
It's evolving all the time. And it's something that, not just Māori or Pacific, but actually everybody. It's new to everybody. And so there's a lot of uncertainties, and data is something that, when you talk about it, people's eyes glaze over because they're bored and they don't want any part of it, or people get really, really excited. But it's something new, and it is in a really exciting space. But when Lillian approached me to come and work at Figure NZ, her kōrero was really along the lines of, well, look, the biggest mission that we have at Figure NZ is getting everyday people and non-experts to really understand and engage with the data. So, and she didn't feel that experts could do that. We needed somebody who could bridge the technologically difficult world of data to the everyday people. And so that's kind of where I see my role. Is how do I bridge that? How do I bridge that chasm, that massive gap? And how do we make data fun and enjoyable and in ways that people want to engage? And so that's kind of the genesis of where we started. But for me, honestly, in working in the data space for a couple of years now, it's just such an underutilized area, right? There's so much potential in it. And we already live in a society in Aotearoa where, there's inequities, right? Our Māori and our Pacific people, we're at the wrong end of all the data statistics, right? So there's already inequities there. And we could all see a world where data was becoming more and more valuable and more important. But then our people were going to be left behind again if somebody didn't jump in and say, hey, data's for everybody, here's how you use it. And so that's what Pacific Data Whale was really designed around. How do we build something that your auntie, your mum, your nieces and nephews, when they're studying about things, can go on to find data that's relevant to them. And that's the starting point. So with Pacific Data Whale, you can go on and find data about health, education, about primary students. You can see how many Pacific people are being born every year, where they're being born. There's just so much on there. Basically, it's every data set that we could find in the country is in Pacific Data Whale now. Not to say that there's that's the exhaustive list, but pretty much everything that we could find is on there. And you would have seen that, right? I think there's over 1,300 charts of data. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting to have a look at.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
And like you did mention, data is going to help our Pacific families and communities. So let's talk about that. How is it? And like Bea said in the video, I really like what she said. She said Pacific Data Whale or Aotearoa brings together data, research, and reports on Pacific people in Aotearoa. You can access data from reputable sources that is free for you to take and use. So how will accessing and understanding data actually help our Pacific?
That's a really good question. And actually, there's actually quite a few tangible ways that we could see it. And part of the issue is when you think data, we think numbers, right? And so for those of us like myself who maybe didn't do too well at maths at school, that's automatically a blocker. But behind those data, behind the data and the statistics and the graphs are numbers and lives and our families and communities, right? So one really important example of making that tangible is what we've seen in the last few months with the response to COVID, right? And how our Pacific communities, in particular, our health providers, all the volunteers, the churches, activated very quickly because we could tell, because the data was being collected and shared, we could see it's impacting our Pacific people. Our Pacific people were in hospital. Our Pacific people were dying. And when those numbers become really real, right? When it's your own people in your community, in your neighborhood. So the thing with data is, because we had access to pretty much daily data updates, what that meant is that the Pacific people could activate, and they could then say to the government, Ministry of Health, look, we need resources and we need it right now. We have ABC, X number of people that need help. We have this many people to vaccinate within a few months. And so that data and those numbers came together, and they were able to go back to the government and say, we need resources. And then the government was then able to say, well, okay, it's not just hearsay. You actually have the data here. Let's fund that. And so, because the government doesn't know how to solve our people's problems, right? Yeah. They're just really distributing the taxpayers' funds back to the people that need it. So in this case, we saw the activation of data instantly transform when Pacific people were given the power to do what they knew that their people would respond to. So in that way, we've seen the data really powerfully display how data can be used to activate really quickly and with excellent results. But there's other examples too. So all kinds of things like using data for funding applications, right? We've got a lot of charities that serve Pacific people. If people have data and information about those things, you're more able to put together applications for funding. You're able to get advocacy. I could speak forever on it, but there's a lot of tangible examples of how data can help Pacific people. You can reduce waiting times in hospital and healthcare services if you have the right kind of data to show, hey, this is when people are getting sick, or, we need more staffing on at this time. So there's actually hundreds of those examples, but I think the COVID one's a really good way where we can say, this is how we use data to activate and serve our people in the way that they knew that they would be served, that would respond. And that was incentives and kai, and, and it's worked, right? You look at the numbers. I was watching the numbers go up daily because I'm a geek like that. Yeah. And I'm watching them go up daily, and I'm thinking, man, they did 4,000 people in one weekend. These are hard to reach whānau that don't respond, really well to government interventions. So, I mean, it's pretty powerful. Data is a really powerful tool. And that's why I really want to help Pacific people. And the first step to really knowing how to use data is being able to find it, right? Yeah. If you can't even find it, let alone access it. And that's why we put all the data on Pacific Data Whale into pictures and graphs. Yeah. Because if I was to give you a whole pile of numbers, you'd probably be like, a big spreadsheet. But when you see it in a graph, it's a visual form, right? And so that's kind of the work we do at Figure NZ. But I'm sorry, that was a very long-winded answer to your question.
No, I really love that. Because you know what? Because the thing is you're absolutely right. Because even I struggle. I'm like, I'm like sitting there watching, myself on the website and thinking, okay. Yep. Okay. So I've managed to convince myself that, or I'm watched it, managed to convince everyone else. Oh, yep. Okay. Data is what is key, and it's what we need to help our community. And I'm like thinking, I actually sat there and I was like, well, actually, what would I use data for in my everyday life? Is kind of what, and is it, who is the data relevant for, and who can use it? And then I was like thinking, well, actually, we could probably use it on our show. Every single day, and say, well, 90%, and I could really actually I can, for the first time, sound like a geek, because I can just pull it up. It's easy, and it is free to use, and I can pull it up and be like, guys, 90% of our Pasifika or Samoan kids are struggling in this area.
Yes.
And, then we can talk a little bit about it on the show openly, share our opinions. But, is there, with the data, is there,
Sorry, sorry, I'm just going to interrupt you there. Flores, she's just made a comment saying, our traditional farming practices are exactly the same. Do we have to pay for the data to use marketing? And it's absolutely free on the website, isn't it, Ngapera?
Yes, everything we do is for free. Basically what we do at Figure NZ is this is going to sound geeky and nerdy, but we democratize New Zealand's public data. Now, what that means is we make it free for everybody because we believe everybody, regardless of income or education level, should be able to access fundamental data about our country. And up until this point, there has been no real effort to serve data in ways that people can use it. But yep, it's absolutely free. We design it for you to download and take and use. And one thing about data is, you could just look at it because things are interesting. You could look through and go, wow, that's really interesting. And you might not be an expert on a topic, but you could go and say, oh, why does that? What's happening there? And then you can actually go on and ask or go in and then say, okay, well, who's the expert in Pacific housing? Maybe they can help us unpick this data. So there's a lot of data on there. And the thing is, there is so much that being able to search for it, being able to type in things like Pacific learning or housing or whatever it is that you want to find, Pacific languages. We've got a lot of charts on Pacific language data. It's just helpful. It's only a start, honestly, but I think you'll find there's a lot of information on there that's really interesting. Some of it makes me cry. When I go on, there's a chart, I can't show you, but there's a chart on there when you look at Pacific housing, and it very clearly shows European, Asian, Pacific, Big Bar, Māori, and that is people who are finding their homes cold or unaffordable, right? And I think it's something like 40-something% of Pacific homes, people feel like their homes are cold. And, it just breaks my heart because that's hundreds of thousands of people. Yeah. And those are our families and those are my nephews and I don't want anybody to be in a cold house. So it's sometimes like that when you see the data sets, even though it's not, positive data. That's the thing that I think when people see these numbers, I hope they can activate. It shouldn't be an issue in a developed country like New Zealand. We shouldn't have people in cold homes.
No, and Flores, yes, you did hear right. The data is 100% free. So you can head over to pacific.figure.nz and everything there is free, which it's amazing. Free. It's such an amazing service and tool, and I'm just so happy that it's actually free and so easy to access for everyone in our community. And
you know what, Ngapera, it's so good because to have you on the show because I think before we were able to be part of this movement, it never ever really occurred to me, and I kind of just thought, oh, okay, it's data. And I'll be honest, I just thought, okay, cool, I'm helping out with a website or just being a face to it. Never ever really put any thought into it. It wasn't until our second meet where I actually sat down and I had to really kind of read through everything. And you made me understand how important it was, and you, through the passion that you showed on that day that we met, I realized, and it straight away ignited something in my heart where I thought, okay, you've kind of offloaded that passion on that second meeting, and I thought, okay, this is really, really, really important to you. And you've explained to me how it's helped your community and your aunties, and and I just thought, okay, why is it so important? I just had to really kind of activate that in my, and then I sat down and I read through and I was like, okay, I see where you're coming from now. And it was so important. That second meet was so important. And then you could see that.
I'm so glad we could do it.
Sorry?
I'm so glad we could do that meeting.
I know. And
I could see that you were nervous and hesitant. And I see that look wherever I go in the country, and I mean, even when people come to the data workshops, they're like quite scared, like, oh no, this is like going to be, you know, and when they come out, they're like, oh, it's actually not that bad. And actually, you know, it's interesting. I'm like, yes. But sometimes it's just having that extra helping hand to understand why, right? But I'm so glad you had that experience.
No, you know what? It's such an awesome experience to be part of, and I'm super excited because, as you can see, you could probably tell by the switch. You know, there were 2 takes of the videos, and you can really, you know, when we spoke, it was that passion, and I thought, right, I better get my A into, because I now have a better understanding of it. And I think that's where it went wrong with our bus speaker people. They don't have a good understanding of why it is what we need, and it's so important. So now
that's a challenge for us. I think we can make some more videos maybe next year, and I think we should actually work on building some Pacific resources, explore some of those things, because that is the hard part, right? It's like, for me, we've got so much data and it's only coming at us faster and faster. Like, here's a cool fact. There is more data now. In the last 2 years, there is like more data, 90% more data than there's ever been in the history of the world. So it's not slowing down. This is a language and a world we all have to understand, because, you know, we've got to navigate our kids through this world. And, you know, there's a lot of, we've also seen, and I'm sure you have too in the Pacific community, misinformation and false information being shared online. That's having huge impact on our communities, being vaccine hesitant, or, you know, and it's a really big issue. It's something I actually lose sleep about quite often. But it makes me dig my heels in harder, because the data is the only antidote. The only antidote is having access to good quality information to counter the bad information that's online. So I'm quite passionate about that topic. We have to do something. Our people are falling for it.
Definitely. And I'm just going to read some couple of comments that are coming through. I just want to say hi to Vasa, who's tuned in. She said, hey ladies, correction, my fave 2 p.m. ladies. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much. Tui has actually said, well done, figure in Z. I love this. Kaupapa. Did I say that? Kaupapa. Yes, there we go. Sometimes I try to speak it with an English accent when I'm just like, you can just speak it with a Spanish accent and it'll be actually perfect. So he says, having a single source to draw data from that can help our community and people is a game changer. And Tui, you're absolutely correct.
Yeah, you are right. And I do want to say a massive shout out to Tautua as well. And I know that it's going to help with our churches. I think our community, they have no idea how powerful the resources and this data is going to be able to help. And it's going to impact in a massive way, because my goodness, I didn't realize how important it was, but
it's all free.
It's all free.
It's all free.
Yeah.
It's like, you think it's so good, and then it's like, it's free. You're like, what?
But you know what? I think the key word here is funding, to be able to get tap into funding and having that information available, because there is funding out there that's available, but just we don't have access to the proper resources. So there you have it, everyone. It's there. But just quickly, so, Ngapera, can you just give us a little bit of insight of, because we heard the launch went well,
yes.
But talk us through a little bit about the launch that happened yesterday, and what the response was like.
The response was amazing. So first of all, that was never supposed to be an online launch. We were actually supposed to launch in September, but of course we've had this lockdown and we've been in COVID lockdowns for so long. So I was a bit nervous doing an online launch, but you know what? I just thought we have to just go and do it, right? So it was awesome. It was about, I don't know how it goes for you guys when you guys do events, but you know, usually people RSVP and then 50% of them don't show up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Only 2 people didn't show up that said that they were going to be there. So
oh wow.
And we had such an amazing representation. So we had everybody from Ministry of Pacific Peoples and MB. We had business owners. We had, I mean, let me tell you, first off, the Pacific leaders in the data space, amazing, very, very strong. We have Pacific people working in PwCs. We've got accountants. There's business owners. There's IT. I mean, you've got a really impressive group of people, not to mention even the Pacific staff and Stats NZ and others. So they all showed up, and I was just, I don't know, I was very humbled anyway. And I was just very proud. I felt really proud. Actually, I felt emotional at times because, as you know, I kind of stepped back and let Awhamasanga Jackie and our Pacific people lead the whole event, which I've always maintained is important. I'm like literally just here to serve and make the tool, but I always really wanted it to be something where Pacific people would take leadership and just run with that. So it was beautiful, and yeah, it was really good. You know, I think people really got it that this is a valuable tool. And, you know, like Tui said, I've had comments saying it's a game changer. You know, it's going to save hours of time, you know, even for people in government and experts, because the data has been so difficult to find. So, yeah, I really was quite an emotional time. It's like, you know, when you work on something for years and then I guess I was nervous about how it was going to be received as well. But, you know, we've just had an overwhelmingly positive response, but also the whole time we've had really good support for it. So, yeah, I felt really proud, and I've had lots of emails and beautiful messages today, even from the CEO of Stats NZ, just to saying we're really proud of the work, and we're grateful that you were able to get it done. And yeah, so next stop, I think, is just handing it over and letting Pacific people take the reins, because, man, what I learned through the whole project was Pacific people know exactly what they want. They know what data that they need. They're very visionary, you know. We were having workshops with the community, and people were saying, well, this is government data and it's all great, but like, we want live data. We want data instant, you know. So the thinking is amazing. And if anybody can make data sexy and engaging, it's Pacific people.
I'm laughing, I'm giggling because I'm like, really? We can make data look that good? I love it. Honestly, Ngapera, it has been an absolute honour serving alongside you and your team there at Figure NZ, and also to Jackie, thank you, Whawhitai Lover, for the opportunity. Honestly, it's also to the management team here at the Bluwave team. I mean, honestly, that second meet really was a game changer for me, and I'm so grateful that you came through. I'm so grateful that we connected, because yeah, it definitely changed that tone, and it was a lot different. Like, I think I remember mentioning to you that first time was cringe for me, and then the second one I actually didn't mind watching it and thought, actually, I'm gonna go and explore the Pacific. Thank you so much. Look, once again, congratulations. What an honor. What an honor to be.
Honor is all mine. Honor is all mine. And thank you, ladies, for taking time to talk to me.
No, we're gonna before we wrap up, did you have any final words for our viewers today?
I just want to say it has been an honour to serve Pacific people, and I'm going to keep continuing to do that. Next year, we're going to hold a whole series of workshops, free workshops, both online ones and in person, which really focusing on kind of teaching and going through data for Pacific people. So that'll be a more hands-on, and we'll make it really fun, I promise. And it won't be scary. It'll be really interesting, and you'll come away with some new skills. But yeah, I look forward to moving around the country and meeting with our Pacific people all over the motu. But yeah, for now, have a tutu, have a play around on the data, and just have a look, because it's real interesting. You just never know what you're going to find.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
So good.
I'm super excited to find out how many of us have actually lost weight during COVID. But thank you once again to the team there at Figure NZ. Check out the website, guys. Oh my goodness, check it out.
Figure.nz.
There we go. But thank you for Whetau Lover.
Thank you so
once
much.
again, Ngapera. That's us for the Friday. We are logging out. We are heading over to Manukau Mall for some late tea, I think, and some shopping. But everyone, have a wonderful weekend. God bless. See you all again this week. So far, so forth.
Bye, thank you.
For the next generation of growers and farmers in the Pacific, may you find your own rhythm on the land. May you grow and teach others how to grow with love. May your skills and intuition continue to nourish, nurture, and advise those who need it.
BluTable voucher is one of the most convenient ways that I'm finding now to do my shopping here at Farmer Joe, and my sister just sent through the voucher on my cell phone, and I just come straight to Farmer Joe to do my shopping.
O le si tūlanga pitusili o le tāua. O le lafo me o le pepa tala o loa. O na whaangale e whaatau i o loa e au ngā mole ainga.
I think it's really convenient for families overseas if they don't know how to help their families here. Then this is the perfect way.
Mai ai le sa so fua tau e le sia sa. Le fia foi sa we mo mawina le foi au nang fo e ala mai le talo for voucher. Ila wana fa tau ma me te mga oi. Ile voucher.
Tai mo le talo pa voucher ua mau le apususi o se wa fine.
So sparo loa fai ngo fie. A me se le tferwa i mala telefoni. Tai mi uma.
Ai lo le lafo me le cash o na inu e le tamao le ainga.
Pa te tu lava le talo pa voucher mo le foi au nang fo pa tai. Ma lu lava le tam pai.
Pa tai talo pa voucher.
Teki talo pa voucher.
Tau tua ma le au nanga mo tau sa mo service station nei tona i matu. Ma tau te utuina lo ta vale, ma le tele o nisi o matu au nanga i se ese. Ai le ngata foi le, ma tau te sia ke ina fo i lo ta vale. Siapa lah yang voice wow, mau lah ucapan. Afai foi vai pa olosa. Awala te pon, matu te siapa lah yang foi mau lah ucapan. Molo no posibilidad. Mua, tapela ucapan le peaut. Lua, tapela o telefone ni me utu ina le ucapan. Male vai nga mulu. Mana tua fo. E matua i whaasaina, lo tau makatapa ai no fuanga whapeni. Mata Samoa, ore mata mo Samoa. Mata te fia e au na pea mo o Samoa. Maftaile fia mai. We'll see you again. God bless.